Veteran filmmaker James Cameron has criticized the aspect of character development in superhero films from Marvel and DC studios, adding that's not the way to make movies. The director had some harsh words, as we will highlight in this video. Make sure you stick with me to the very end so you don't miss any part of the gist. Shall we? Without any further delay, let's get into it. What James Cameron had to say about making superhero movies from Marvel and DC studio. The director said the maturity that is lacking in the characters from these tentpole franchises is depicted in his upcoming sci-fi adventure movie Avatar: The Way of Water, through his protagonist Jake Sully, played by Sam Worthington, and Neytiri, played by Zoe Saldana. The Way of Water, the sequel to the 2009 film Avatar, will see Jake and Neytiri go to great lengths to keep their family safe. James Cameron said that Zoe and Sam now play parents 15 years later. In the first movie, Sam's character leapt off his flying creature and essentially changed the course of history as a result of this crazy, almost suicidal leap of faith. And Zoe's character leapt off a limb and assumed there's going to be some nice big leaves down there that could cushion her fall. But when you're a parent, you don't think that way. So for James Cameron, he told the New York Times that as a parent of 5 kids, he is saying, or safer to say, asking, what happens when those characters mature and realize that they have a responsibility outside their own survival. Citing the example of Marvel and DC, the celebrated director said the characters in the spectacle films hailing from these stables don't experience relationships in the real sense. He further explained that when he looks at these big, spectacular films, that he is actually looking at them, Marvel and DC, that it doesn't matter how old the characters are, they all act like they're in college. They have relationships, but they really don't. They never hang up their spurs because of their kids. The things that really ground us and give us power, love, and a purpose. Those characters don't experience it, and James Cameron thinks that's not the way to make movies. Interestingly, Saldana is also part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, under which she plays Gamora in the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise. The actress will reprise her role in the third part of Guardians, slated for a summer 2023 release. Cameron isn't the first notable director to take aim at superhero films, with Jane Campion, Ridley Scott, and Francis Ford Coppola all publicly criticizing them. Perhaps the most high-profile detractor has been Martin Scorsese, who dubbed them theme park rides and not cinema. I tried, but that's not cinema, Martin said in 2019. Honestly, he added that the closest he could think of them, as well made as they are, with actors doing the best they can under the circumstances, is theme parks. It isn't the cinema of human beings trying to convey emotional, psychological experiences to another human being. Cameron was being interviewed about his upcoming movie, Avatar: The Way of Water, the second part in his planned 5-film franchise. Despite being known for long production cycles, Cameron recently admitted he was initially worried about the sequel's delay. He stated that he was a little concerned that he had stretched the tether too far in their fast-paced modern world, with Avatar 2 coming in 12 years later, right until they dropped the teaser trailer and they got 148 million views in 24 hours. He highlighted that there's that scarce seen but wondered at principle, which is wow, we haven't seen that in a long time, but he added that he remembers how cool it was back then. Does that play in their favor? He answered that, though he doesn't know, but he guesses they are going to find out. Let's talk about 8 film directors who have spoken out against Marvel movies. Marvel movies have undoubtedly dominated the cinema landscape for the last decade, with the superhero blockbusters commanding a die-hard fan base and A-list cast. Though not to everyone's taste, fans often roll their eyes when the movies are criticized for being not real cinema, so to speak. The latest movie buff to express disinterest in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is director Denis Villeneuve, who helmed the upcoming and highly anticipated Dune release. Artistically, Villeneuve said he believes the franchise's movies are cut-and-paste jobs. Villeneuve said in an interview with the Spanish newspaper El Mundo that perhaps the problem is that we are in front of too many Marvel movies that are nothing more than a cut-and-paste of others. A staple in Hollywood himself for the last decade, Villeneuve is the director behind several renowned movies, such as Arrival, Cesario, Blade Runner 2049, Prisoners, and Enemy. The French-Canadian is not alone in these views. That being the case, let's now highlight 8 film directors who have spoken out against Marvel movies in no particular order. Starting off with Ridley Scott. Iconic director Ridley Scott, known for classics like Alien, the original Blade Runner, Thelma and Louise, Gladiator, Black Hawk Down, The Martian, and more, said superhero movies just aren't his thing. Superhero movies are not my kind of thing. That's why I've never really done one, he told Digital Spy. He further explained that he has been asked several times, but he couldn't believe in the thin gossamer tightrope of the non-reality of the situation of the superhero. The next film directors who have spoken out against Marvel movies is Francis Ford Coppola. Another legendary filmmaker, Francis Ford Coppola defended Scorsese's criticism of Marvel movies. movies. He told France 24 in 2019 that when Martin Scorsese said that the Marvel pictures are not cinema, he was right, because we expect to learn something from cinema. We expect to gain something, some enlightenment, some knowledge, some inspiration, and that he doesn't know that anyone gets anything out of seeing the same movie over and over again. Francis Ford concluded by saying that Martin was kind when he said it's not cinema. He didn't say it's despicable, which he just admitted it is. Next up on our list of next film directors who have spoken out against Marvel movies is David Cronenberg. David Cronenberg, famed for his disturbing horror and science fiction films like The Fly, A History of Violence, Crash, and more, said superhero movies are for kids. He told Next Movie that superhero movie, by definition, it's comic book. It's for kids. It's adolescent in its core. That has always been its appeal, and he thinks people who are saying The Dark Knight Rises is supreme cinema art. He said he doesn't think they know what they're talking about. He added, I think it's still Batman running around in a stupid cape. Christopher Nolan's best movie is Memento, and that is an interesting movie. The next director in our list is Alejandro G. Iñárritu. Alejandro G. Iñárritu, the Academy Award-winning Birdman director, similarly feels that superhero movies are not for grown-ups. He told Deadline that he would be terrible at making a superhero film, and he thinks there's nothing wrong with being fixated on superheroes when you are 7 years old, but that there's a disease in not growing up. Next up, Bong Joon-ho. Oscar-winning director Bong Joon-ho of Parasite fame criticized the costumes in Marvel movies. He told Variety in 2019 that he has a personal problem. He added that though he respects the creativity that goes into superhero films, but in real life, in movies, he just can't stand people wearing tight-fitting clothes. He further highlighted that he could never wear something like that, and just seeing someone in tight clothes is mentally difficult. He added that owing to the fact that most superheroes wear tight suits, he can never direct one, and doesn't think anyone will offer the project to him either. The next director in our list is Lucrecia Martel. Argentine film director Lucrecia Martel, who directed films The Holy Girl and The Headless Woman, blasted the special effects and soundtracks of Marvel movies. She told The Guardian that the first thing she asked them was maybe if they could change the special effects because there's so many laser lights, which she finds rather horrible. She also added that the soundtrack of Marvel films is quite horrendous. Maybe they disagree on this, but it's really hard to watch a Marvel film. It's painful to the ears to watch Marvel films. Here's what director Ken Loach had to say. Ken Loach, the British director known for his gritty explorations of class in films like Daniel Blake and Sorry We Missed You, similarly described Marvel movies as commodities. He told Sky News that they are market exercise, and it has nothing to do with the art of cinema. William Blake said, when money is discussed, art is impossible. Wrapping it up, we have Martin Scorsese. Hollywood legend Martin Scorsese famously expressed his disdain for Marvel in 2019 when he said that films like The Avengers, Captain America, and Iron Man are not the cinema of human beings. He later clarified his stance in a New York Times op-ed, writing, many franchise films are made by people of considerable talent and artistry. He said in an interview with Empire magazine, the closest he can think of them as well made as they are, with actors doing the best they can under the circumstances, is theme parks. That concludes today's video. If you found this video helpful, please do consider giving us a thumbs up, and don't forget to share the video with your friends and family. See you next time.